对各叙述的部分对答案。
谢谢各位。今天很高兴在这边再见你们。今天我们特别安排这次的法说会，其实最重要的一件事情就是说，因为我们第一次开法说会在中国信托，然后跟着就也开了2场。之后的话就觉得很多回应回来，就是说你们真的能做吗？还是这么疑问，对我们这个公司为什么能够做到一个那么好的电动车，持这个怀疑态度。Let me use English. So actually, today the purpose for me to hold these meetings is because I think after the first institutional investor meetings, we have a lot of feedback. Most of the feedback, they like the car, but they said, how come we can make a car like this? It's very advanced technology. And then so far, not really that many big companies can do it. So therefore, today, I'm so happy that we have the honor to invite the CEO from Dalala, Mr.昶洧, and he's here to explain to you why we can make this chassis and the battery pack together for thunder power. And also, I will introduce you Mr. Peter Tuza, and he is the CTO of our company. He has a lot of success experience, and also he knows how to make cars. Okay, and good car means not a regular car. Okay, and also we have our CPO in production, Mr. Franz Schulte, is that? Yeah, and he's a German, so it's I don't know how to pronounce it in German. But anyway, we are excited, very excited to have this all these team people joining with us. Actually, I can say that as Chris before, is our business development director, and he said we have best of the world, right?
Best of the world.
Of the whole world. Okay. So actually now what I'm going to do is because I think you have been seeing my face too many times and maybe getting bored and sick and tired of me already. So now I let Chris start to talk about our company's vision, and also then Mr. Tuza going to talk about the technical thing, and then about chassis. Then we have the CEO from Dalala, Andrea will talk about why we are making cars in such a way, and also the production. We will have this Franz to talk about that we can do the production in China and anywhere in the world actually, right? Yeah. Okay, great, excellent. So let's welcome Chris first, okay?
Good afternoon, everybody. How? Great. That's most of my Chinese for today. I'd like to just give you a brief introduction to the project, what we're doing, why we're doing this, and to kick off, let's talk about the future, and in particular, the future of the automotive industry. I think this sentence is very, very important. The auto industry is entering an age of digital disruption. I think this is our starting point, and something we absolutely believe is happening over the coming years. What do we mean by that? I think there's three main factors. We have a huge drive by governments to reduce emissions. We have connectivity and data playing an increasing role in customer purchase and customer requirements. And of course, there are new players looking to enter the automotive industry. So, a lot of change. For Thunder Power, my computer will go to the next slide. What do we want to do? You see a fantastic car behind me. Point one is we want to challenge conventional thinking. Challenge the way car companies have thought in the past and how cars are developed. And the second point, we want to build class-leading premium electric vehicles. I think we believe very strongly it's not a question of if the electric vehicle is going to take over, but when the electric vehicle will become a mainstream product. I'm going to show you a chart now which summarizes very much our values, what we're trying to do. And you see there's 5 pillars, five key aspects. Generating serenity is our motto, is our part of our logo. And I think we'll come on to explain that later as the presentation goes on. But the key important points of how we build our company and what we believe in. Point one, electric vehicle must be greater than internal combustion engine in terms of superior performance. There is no reason why an electric car should be any worse than an electric vehicle. It should be better. Than a petrol car, it should be better. We have European engineering. We have Italian design. The car is built for a contemporary client. And we have a new word to describe this, which is compumotive, which is the merger, the fusion of the computer world with the automotive industry, which we believe will grow very, very rapidly over the next 5 to 10 years. Putting everything together, the best of all worlds, it's a combination of how we build the car, which is internal IP, plus collaborations with the strongest partners throughout the world who are leaders in their field of technology. For instance, Dallara, who's going to introduce our collaboration later on in the presentation. So, normally our chairman would introduce us, but I'll just carry on to give a brief introduction about who you're dealing with, who you will see today, the leadership team. And rather than going through all of our CVs, I tried to combine it in just a few lines. And over 30 years of experience in high-tech private equity. You have amongst us today over 100 years. I know it looks impossible, we're all so young, but we have really over 100 years of automotive experience and technology, just with the 3 individuals who are standing in front of you. And we bring that from manufacturers such as Porsche, Ford, Land Rover, Fiat. And also important, there's great experience on the manufacturing side with responsibility up to 15,000 employees. So we have some nice pictures so you can remember names and faces. There we are. You also see that it's a very international group of individuals. We all have not just, the flag, I think, is our passport flag, but on our CVs there is many countries and many global regions that we've been responsible for in the past. Pictures speak louder than words, so we thought a highlight from some of our past, and the picture I actually appreciate the most is this one here. I'm sure you will recognize this car, one of the greatest cars ever built, and the person who started with a blank sheet of paper and took the car up to its production phase is standing right in front of us. I think it's also a privilege for me to work with Peter over the coming years. The one on the right is for me. This is a little less interesting, just commercial sales and marketing, dealer development in Europe and Asia. France, who's just been introduced, had many years at Ford, and if I remember rightly, France will introduce herself later, but the processes that he introduced in the Ford factories in Germany and Europe are still the same processes used today. And the last point on manufacturing, William Ye has had great experience with world-leading companies in terms of setting up manufacturing businesses. So, As ways of an introduction, that's enough from me. I will come back at the end to talk about the commercial aspects, sales and marketing, but I would like to introduce you to Peter, who's going to take you through the products and the technical side of the car.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we are doing a car which has to be competitive in 2018 when we started the production. It means that we cannot copy. It's not in our DNA, first of all, but we want to set up an automotive company which has success on the market, not just 1 year, but long-lasting. So we are setting up an automotive business. So again, we cannot copy. We have to do something new. The first thing, which is visible to everyone, is the styling. The styling of the Thunder Power car is done together with the Zagato styling house in Italy. Here you see the styling, a very strong face, together with a very modern and exciting new vision of a sedan car in 2018. It's completely new, it's brand new, it's a new face, it's immediately recognizable, and I think we have a very good business card for this car because it's an outstanding style. No, sorry. We are not just doing a new styling. We are doing a completely new car. We want to be on the edge of technology everywhere on the several features of the car. So we have a dedicated platform for EV cars. That is the most important thing. We have not a derivative of a car based on a thermal engine, but it's based on a EV platform. We have Italian design and European engineering. Our chassis is a modular one. It means that we can use the chassis for further cars. And what we are doing, we are setting up a family of cars in using the same chassis. That means that we are now investing in a product, and we are immediately investing also in further products later on. And we are talking about at least 3 cars based on the same platform. So we are talking about a real industrial venture. We are doing an electric car. Electric car has to be comparable with a car with thermal engine. It means that I have unlimited usability. That means that recharging, range, and all those things is not a problem. Therefore, we maximize the range of the car, and therefore we have to maximize the capacity of the battery. We have 125 kilowatt hours of capacity in the battery pack. That is a new benchmark. The large battery size is one thing, but we must be able to recharge the battery pack in a very short time. And we managed to recharge the battery pack completely in 6 hours. This is one thing, but the most important thing is that we can recharge half, even more half, some 60% of the capacity in less than half an hour. So the car is absolutely usable as a normal standard car with a thermal engine. The performance, based on our battery pack and based on the complete layout of the car, we can do, first of all, we can do 650 kilometers with one charge of battery. We start the production with 2 motors, one with 230 kilowatts and one with 320 kilowatts. The battery pack, as mentioned before, has 125 kilowatt hours. We can do the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, the acceleration, with the smaller motor in 5.9 seconds, and 4.9 seconds with the stronger one. The maximum speed is on one side 210, on the other side 250. The weight, our weight is below 2,000 kilos. To be precise, 1,900. This is a new benchmark for electric cars of this size. This is not a miracle. This is simply, absolutely engineering on the top, on every area of the car, mostly on chassis, body in white, and powertrain. To do such a performance, to have a car with such a weight, you have to have very, very high level engineering knowledge about the whole car. The interior, we have a completely different and new layout of the let me call it, of the dashboard, what you have in front of you. We have a screen which is taking the complete width of the car. We have of course the instruments in front of the car, of the driver, the cluster. In the middle we have the so-called infotainment, and on the right side we have the connectivity, internet connection. The 3 pages are interchangeable, so it's possible to use by everyone, by the driver or by the passenger, every page what is needed. Price. The price, of course, is very important. We have an entry level, which is we have an entry level of 627,000. Just for entry level 400,000. Sorry. Entry level 95. Yes, 94,000 yuan, and
this is incentive. This is incentive. I mean, the total amount is 400,000 renminbi.
yes,
But it's only a comparison.
yes, the sale price. Okay,
Yeah, the sale price.
sale price 400,000 RMB.
For entry level. For somebody to buy it, it's 647 versus
Yes.
for us it's 158. So we compare the price of the internal combustion
Okay.
engine and also the VIP. Okay. This nice to be blue top, not. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
The chassis, as mentioned before, the chassis is a modular chassis. We can use it for several cars. As you see, this is the lower part, which when the body is on, you don't see it, but it's there. It's a very important part, and we use it for several cars. And that is doing real automotive business. We are using the same part for several cars, and therefore having access to a larger part of the market. The chassis, we are working together with very known and very skilled engineering companies in Europe: Bosch, Dallara, Zagato for styling, CSI for body and bike. Of course, Bosch is regarding electronic systems, Dallara is regarding chassis, Zagato styling, and CSI regarding the body, white, and interior.
Also, a lot of aerodynamics.
Aerodynamics, we will see it. The battery pack. Our battery pack, as I mentioned before, is a very performing one. We have our 125 kilowatt hours, which is based on a certain number of cells, which we have maximized. That is because the high capacity is a sum of maximizing on one side the size, and on the other side the energy content. We are using the cell which has the most dense energy content on one side, and on the other side we have very large. We have used every space available in the car to increase the size. We are doing our car based on real engineering. That means that we have a complete car model, which is the base to support our doing. Every part of the car, the motor, the battery pack, the chassis, the body in white, the aerodynamics, and so on, is mathematically describe it and inside of a complete car model, which gives us a very powerful tool to optimize and to maximize the performance of every system on the car. This is just a sample. This, for example, is the part of vehicle dynamics. We have the complete suspensions model inside of our mathematical description. Of course, the tire as well, suspension and every our system. And this gives us the possibility to have a complete information continuously about the performance of the whole car, which then is for other is to compare continuously to see if we are on track or not, and where we have to increase, where we can increase, to maximize our performance and to maximize the added value for the client. This is another sample for the battery pack. We have our battery pack based on we have the simulation of our battery pack. We can predict the range that we can do in changing this, in modifying that, in optimizing this and optimizing that. And we drive the car on several driving cycles, so we see what is the consumption, what is the performance, what is the range. In driving the car in different ways the car can be driven. So if we say that we can do 650 kilometers, that is based on real engineering, that is the base of our car. At the same time, we have also a complete thermal situation under control inside of the car. We know in driving the car on the simulation model, we see immediately how much heat we are going to produce in the several areas of the car, and therefore how much heat we have to exchange to keep the car, to keep the functions under control. This is a sample of real layout of the thermal management. We have the interior of the cab, we have the battery pack, we have the motor, the electronics, everything is kept under control with a system that we have developed for our car, specifically just for our car. This gives us the heat flow in several driving conditions. Here you see 3, but in reality we have much more, of course. What I want to say is that we have every driving conditions under control, and we know what we have to do, and therefore we can predict how to size the several systems on the car. Electronic system. Every box is a computer. Finally, we will have some 40 computers on board. This gives you an overview about the architecture. We have several bus communications inside of the car. We have the info bus, we have the body bus, the vehicle bus, and the powertrain. The chassis, as I said before, it is a modular one. We can use it for several cars. We are already thinking on the future cars, and therefore we have already inside of our doing for the first car, for the sedan, we have already done a certain amount in terms of percentage of the next cars. It is, if you want, it's the so-called, as Mr. Shem says, the so-called sushi concept. You have the rice, which is common, and then you can have different fishes. But the rice is always the same, and then you can have different tastes, and that is what we are going to create. This is the fish. This is the rice, and then we put it together. This is the first sushi, and other sushis will follow. The aerodynamics. We are doing aerodynamics together with, as the chassis, together with the Lara. The Lara is winning around the world, more or less every championship. And as you know, you might know that race cars are successful mostly because of aerodynamics. We are doing the aerodynamics together with the Lara. This is just a sample to see you you can recognize maybe behind our styling that we have seen before, and we are optimizing to get aerodynamic figures which are absolutely on top of what is around, not just today, but what will be around tomorrow. And what will be around tomorrow, of course, working in this business, it's more or less known what our competitors are doing. So if I say we will be among the best when we go to the market, it's because I know what the others are doing. The Lara, as I mentioned before, the Lara is a very important partner for us. We are doing chassis, aerodynamics, simulation together with that engineer company, and we are happy to have here the CEO from the Lara, which can tell you a little bit more about the Lara company.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Good morning. I like a lot the automotive concept because it's my city. I have been 27 years in IBM Computers and now 8 years in the Lara as a CEO. So I was the CEO of IBM Italy and now I am the CEO of the Lara. So automotive is my city. And this is why I like very much this project. As you can see here, the Lara is our basic activities is on the racing side. We are not at the top of the images in the world in terms of image, but we are behind almost all the racing cars that are racing today in the world, from Formula 1 to Formula Electric. Only to give you an idea, every weekend we have almost 300 of our cars racing all over the world. We are building all the Indy cars, all the GP2, all the GP3, all the Formula Electrics, all the Super Formula in Japan, Formula 3 around the world. So this is our DNA. But today, half of our business is on the racing side, and half of our business, the other half, is on the automotive side, because we sell our knowledge, our consultancy, to the automotive industry. So our customers are today, you mentioned Bugatti, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, Porsche. So only to name few of them. And what we do for them? Basically the things that you see here, lightweight. In the racing side, light is the heart of our job. So we are expert through the mathematical models and through the structural analysis on how to reduce the weight of the cars. And this is why we have been selected by Thunder Power to help them to design a very lightweight car. Because remember one simple formula, energy is equal mass by acceleration. So if you reduce the mass, you don't need a lot of energy. And so it's much better that you reduce the weight instead to increase the power. And this to have good performance and also a long-lasting car. The second thing is aerodynamics. Peter mentioned it already. Only to give you an idea, 50%, 50, of the performance of our racing cars came from aerodynamics. And so this is why we are expert on this. We own 2 wind tunnels in our facility in Italy, and this is why, again, we think that aerodynamics can be very beneficial to this kind of project. This is a tendency that we see in the market. Now we are overwhelmed by customers in the automotive area that are asking us to work on the aerodynamic phase before we start the style. In the past was the opposite. You have a style and then you have to optimize through aerodynamics. Today, you start from the aerodynamics and then you ask the style to work with the aerodynamic concept. Again, because aero efficiency means less energy to have the same speed. And the third thing is related to vehicle dynamics and vehicle simulation. All the things that have been shown before, you have seen a small board that is Daimola. Remember this name, is an open source software on the vehicle dynamic side that allows to have different R&D capabilities around the world, and then each one of them build up his own mathematical model. For example, mathematical model for the battery pack, for the suspension, for the aerodynamics, for the engine, for the tires, for every piece of the car, as you have seen before. And then you combine these things all together. And in our facility in Varano, and also now in our facility in Indianapolis in US, we have a driving simulator that is really is at the state of the art today in the world, where you can put all this model together and you allow a driver to drive a car before the car is designed. So you can test all the concepts before you start the design and obviously the production. This will allow us here in this project to change completely the way that we work in the automotive industry. So you test the concept before you design and you realize things. And this is a very important, and automotive is a reality. So use the computer capabilities to have a nice automotive concept developed and tested. So each one of you can drive the car before the car is built. And then you can say, I prefer more power, no, I prefer less aerodynamics, I want to have more comfort on the car. So you can test all these things before you start to produce things. Imagine how much we can save in terms of cost, in terms of time, so you can shorten the time to develop these things. And this is why we have accepted to work in this project, because we think it's advanced in terms of concept, and so we want to start a new journey in this exciting world that is the electric vehicles. We are already leader in the racing side with the electrical vehicle, with the Formula E. This is racing all over the world. I think that next year you will have it in Hong Kong. We had the first race in Shanghai 1 year ago, and this is a big success because it forces us to think in a different way. Thank you.
My name is Pashur, as you know, and I have one of these 100 years here. The biggest part of it is comes to me, depending on my age. And I have to make things happen. That means whenever these good ideas come through, then I'm the man who actually has to build the thing. So here you can see the R&D center, which already exists in Shaoxing. It's very close to the manufacturing site. And here we have already 2 floors, which one of the floors actually, I think both are actually changed. Oh, let's choose what we want actually to do. So it means we have R&D in China and we have R&D in Italy, just to make sure. In China, of course, if we're close to production, it's important change management and all the system has to be done here. And the other side is, whilst Peter just mentioned that we are building on one platform more vehicles, that means different greenhouses, so this design and development work will still be done in Europe. So therefore we have actually 2 centers. The next thing is the complying with manufacturing license requirements in China. Is it something you want to say? Right. So you can see where we are at the very moment. Thunder Power, that's where we think. You see everything on the left-hand side. You see, if you want to have a license in China, where you have some problems. So that means it's not that difficult. I think you guys know better than we know that getting a license in China, it's not that easy. It has to be based on certain things, as we heard, for example, the weight and something like this is important. And as you see us here, that means we will pass because every single of the requirements are asked, we will meet. It's not a big problem for us. Back. Yeah. Shaoxing, that's the area where we're going to build the factory. The land is there. Now we are just in discussion with the local government to make sure that we get the buildings done which they actually will do for us to the right size. We're working together with the companies which actually are knowing a lot about the manufacturing side. For example, finding something like these guys, they have studied involvement that they get everything done right first time. So we don't have to rechange it afterwards, which makes it more expensive. Now, what we can say is we have strong support from the local government. So as you see, discount on American land, equipment purchase, subsides, tax concession and financing subsidies, key operations feature include. Then we have my press shop, and then something we will not start with the press shop because in the beginning, if you have started with small numbers, then of course you don't start with the press shop, that comes later. But we have welding, paint and final assembly, and of course we build our own battery packs there as well in the side area. So I think we are well set up with the manufacturing side, and I actually can sign here. This is, let's say, the structure, which is done by CSI in Germany, which is important. You can see certain things on here. You have, let's say, of the structure. For example, all hang-on parts, or let's say surface part, are built out of aluminium. And here you can see how far we are at the very moment. So with this structure, we actually can ask some suppliers what kind of tools we need and so on. So this is actually in a process. Here it's mentioned we have everything. We have laser welding, we have riveting, we have screwing, and we have bonding. These are the normal processes you normally have when you start building a vehicle. These are processes which are well known, and I tell you, I've ordered quite a number of these things before, so nothing new actually. Okay, now, is there something from here? I think it's pretty good. Come on,
Yes, to do something.
yes, do something. Thank you.
Okay, this what you see here is a summary. Up until 2018, a lot of work to do, particularly on the engineering and the manufacturing side, which fortunately I have my two colleagues to help here. My part is at the bottom, and you can see this is the easier part. It's quite empty up until 2018. So the hard work is about the engineering, it's about building the car, building the factory, making sure we're ready to go. And moving on, once we have the car, the question is how many will we sell, who we will sell them to, and how do we aim to sell the car in the marketplace. I think before we look at that, it's very important to understand our view on the markets over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think we're in a very fortunate position that we're in the two highest sectors of growth over the next 10 years. One is the premium sector, and the other, the electric vehicle sector. On the left, premium today differs according to region. Europe is already quite strong, but the States and China is expected to grow rapidly. And probably, all the predictions are that by 2020 you're looking at around about 3 million units in each of these markets. On the right-hand side, we see the current electric vehicle segment and the predicted electric vehicle segment. I think one chart stands out above any other, which is this here. It's maybe you're thinking that we're crazy that we're expecting such a rapid growth. Currently, China around about 200,000 units, more or less, and by 2020 we're talking about 2 million units. So why such a big growth? 2 million, in fact, is only 10% of the total market, so not so high. And then we have to look at an example from Europe, which is the market of Norway. And Norway has today already a 25% share of electric vehicles of all cars sold. The 25% is based upon primarily government incentives and a strong push, financial incentives to make it attractive for the clients to buy the car. If we look at what's going to happen in China, I think every day there are news stories about legislation for new apartment buildings need charging stations. 400,000 charging stations planned by 2020. Tax relief, incentives, target of state procurement. The measures taken by the Chinese authorities are far, far, far superior in any way to anything we've seen in any part of the world. And we're having a discussion earlier with our German colleagues about this, and what we know is that when the Chinese government say they're going to do something, they do it, which is maybe not what we're used to in Europe. So we can expect this massive growth. And then I think one point, just to refer back to a chart Peter showed earlier on with incentives. If you remember the pricing chart, it was actually a comparison between an electric car and a conventional internal combustion engine. And with a starting D-tax price of 400,000 RMB, adding on taxes on the petrol car and taking away the incentives on the electric car, you end up with the petrol car at a final retail price of 650, more or less, and the electric car at 380, more or less. So when we have the performance, which we will have, and when we have the infrastructure, which is coming, and then you add on the factor of pricing, I think 10% might actually, 10% market share might actually prove to be very, very modest indeed. So no presentation is complete without a classical marketing positioning chart, and we've tried to just put it into context to understand what we are and which position we're in. And the two axes is between value and premium, driver's car and comfort. Just to give two examples, so the epitome of the driver's car, the Ferrari, top right, driver car, luxury car, and Rolls-Royce is the comfort car, also a luxury sector. We believe we're somewhere here. We're equivalent, should we say, to a Maserati, not in terms of price, not in terms of luxury, but at that level in terms of our proposition to the client. And we think it's a very important positioning because the future of the automotive industry is not just compumotive. I think all the technology over the next 10, 15 years is being developed towards autonomous driving and towards comfort rather than pure classical driving. And what we're going to see is that some of the players in the top, by definition, will have to redefine where they're moving to, and we can expect to see them move down to this territory, to where the future is and where the future clients' requirements are. So a lot of theory so far, but then it's time to ask a real client what do they think. And this is a survey from 7,000 clients across the world with their perception towards new manufacturers in the automotive sector. And I think it confirms what we know, is that the clients in Europe and the States are quite conservative. But in China, there's great appetite towards new manufacturers, and especially amongst the younger people, 74% are willing to buy a car from a tech company as opposed to a classical manufacturer. I think this confirms that the market we're looking at is real and a huge opportunity. Let's talk about numbers. Quite complicated charts, but I think what we're trying to show is that we start off relatively slowly. Each new model launch, SUV, crossover, compact car, brings additional volume. We're predicting 75 to 80% of the volume to be in the Chinese markets, with Europe and the States a smaller sector. If something changes in the EV sector in Europe, which is always possible with government policy, then of course demand will rise and we expect a higher number. I think important to say is the red line here is currently, as a benchmark, Tesla, with what they're going to sell in 2015, more or less 50,000 units. So even by, I should actually be down here, but even by 2020, we're looking at 50, 60,000 units. We're looking at a modest beginning. We're not looking at crazy targets. It's a step-by-step approach. And only when we have a complete model range do we're looking around about 350,000 units. And even then, that's just a predicted 80% share of the electric vehicle sector. So let's talk about promotion, how we build a brand. We have the car, we have the client, we have a market. We need a brand. We need people to understand our offer. And there are 5 areas which we're going to concentrate on. The first area, very important, is we're going to be a digital company offering a digital brand experience from interest generation through to purchase. Of course, there needs to be a very strong connection. The client today no longer goes to his dealer for information about a car. He arrives at a dealer already knowing exactly what he wants. So we put the connection together. Our brand representation won't follow the classical dealer model. There will be a series of brand centers, some in major conurbations, supported by a service network. And we're talking about a reasonable investment to become a Thunder Power representative. Very important is that we use the car to do the talking. The performance car not only demonstrates the technical capabilities, but it also showcases our brand. In Frankfurt Motor Show, this car was launched or previewed. I think it's a demonstration of the direction which we want to go in, to demonstrate what we can do. A few highlights from Frankfurt. It was the first public appearance of Thunder Power, and I think none of us really knew what to expect going to such a major motor show as an unknown manufacturer with a concept which electric cars in Germany are not mainstream yet. And we actually had a terrific response. Terrific in the sense that the journalists, clients, they liked the car, but they also liked the concept of electric cars and what we were trying to do and the performance we were trying to meet. So you see on the left-hand side, NTV, for instance, is a German 24-hour news channel, and it's very flattering in the headline to be put in the same company as Audi and Porsche. Audi, Porsche, and Thunder Power. On the right-hand side, I think you recognize the face, but also it's the interest from worldwide media such as CNBC to talk about what we're doing, I think is a confirmation that we're going in the right direction. So here's another image from Frankfurt, and I think this is the way of the future. We need to continue to be represented in international events to build our brand. I think it's important that the car does the talking, because what we have to offer, as we've discussed, the design, the engineering, but the performance is already equal, if not superior, to a petrol vehicle. I'd like to close, and rather than just look at a still image, we have a small video, highlights from Frankfurt, just to give you an impression of what it was like in the presentation, and give you a feel of the car live, that you can see, which you can't touch it here. This is not a project on a piece of paper, this is something that's happening, and it's something that's happening very quickly. So, let's hope this works. Just maybe as a closing word on Frankfurt, we had great interest. Many people wanted to know when is the car coming, what can it do. We even had, I think, around about 100 people. It's not scientific, so please, and not representative, but we had 100 clients who wanted to express a firm reservation for the car, even though it's coming first in 2018 to Europe. Just to understand this, the confirmation that the project is absolutely the right project at the right time. With that, I would like to hand back to my chairman, and in the background, I will leave you with a summary of what we discussed, and please, well, over to you.
So thank you for you to coming over. I think this time I'm doing a not like a raise your hand and answer question session. What I'm going to do is personal approach. If you have any question, you can. If you want to ask the technical, then we have the CTO here. If you want to ask the marketing, we have the marketing by the production, and so on and so forth. So I think thank you very much for coming. And if you have further questions, please, find the right person to ask. Thank you.